Don't hide your scars. I am going to talk a little bit about personal story briefly and how that's changed a little bit how I've approached writing. So to give you a little bit of context, you may have noticed that I have quite a hefty scar on my neck here, and in 2021 I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. You can learn a little bit more about my journey and thoughts around that on my other channel where I talk about role-playing games, and I'll link that video in the description but also on the screen here. And the long story short is I did have surgery and got a lot of lymph nodes removed, and my thyroid of course as well, so I don't have that anymore. And then I went through a little bit of treatment and now I'm cancer free, which is fantastic. But that whole process was of course very scarring, both physically and emotionally. And something that I have experienced since having this physical scar on my body in a place that is very visible, there's two quick stories that I want to share around that. The first is I actually thought that I would be bothered by it. Before my surgery, I was kind of nervous about what it would look like and that I would be self-conscious about it. But after having my surgery, I realized pretty quickly that I wasn't bothered by it whatsoever. It was just kind of part of the process and part of my story and was a necessity. So I more viewed it as a mark of the things that I had gone through, and also now that I've had some time to reflect on it, the growth that I've experienced because of this particular surgery that I did have to go through. So when I first got it and went back to work, one of my coworkers had made a comment about, well, you know, you can just buy a lot of cute scarves to cover that up. And at the time I was like, not taking offense to it because she clearly meant well. I don't think she was being purposefully rude, but my first thought was like, I don't want to hide this. I don't know why you're suggesting that I need to hide this. And so part of this video, I think, is to give encouragement to you that if you have physical scars, you don't feel like you need to hide them. You can if you want to, but it's not something that is a necessity at all. It's totally your choice of how much of that you want to show to the world. So that was kind of my first encounter with, okay, some people may view this differently than I am. And then I recently had someone who was a connection who also has a YouTube channel, and she recently had some surgery on her face, so she was going to have a scar for a little bit. And she was like, well, I'm gonna go off camera and just do B-roll and tide my time until it heals. And I was thinking about how to respond to her and give her advice on this, and I felt the need to kind of tell her that she doesn't have to hide that scar. It's just something that as humans we go through. We have both physical and emotional scars that we'll get throughout our lives, and it's just a marker of the life that we've lived and the experiences that we've had. Okay, so how does this actually relate to writing? I found that this thinking about our scars makes our writing better. And sometimes when clients are writing, they are trying to kind of dance around what they actually want to write about. I think this happens a lot because writing can be very therapeutic and help you process and help you kind of move through things and see and own your experiences. I think that can be really empowering, thinking about how you are translating your experiences onto the page, even if it's not that you're telling the story about yourself, but you're telling your story through different characters. I do find that writers sometimes don't go far enough into that process and pulling on their experiences, and there's a little bit of a distance between what they're writing and the experiences that they've had. And when writers work to close that distance, I find that oftentimes their writing, one, becomes closer to what they actually wanted to write about in the first place, and two, it becomes more emotionally resonant and engaging to readers, which is ultimately what we want for all of our stories. That is to say that I want to encourage you to lean into your experiences, lean into your scars, and show them on the page. Think about how you want to display what you have gone through and how you want to show that, and what the point of your book is going to be in relation to what you really want to tell. And I think generally leaning into this method helps your characters feel more authentic as well. If you have personally gone through something and you're trying to translate that on the page, like immense grief or any sort of particular experience, if you can pull on those emotions and how it felt in that moment, then when it shows up on the page, it'll be much more authentic. And overall, going through these things and reflecting on them, I think helps build empathy as well, which is a strong trait to have when you are a writer, because you're writing things from different perspectives and characters who might not exactly be who you are. And so being able to see things from different lenses is a very important part of writing. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic, and let me know down in the comments if pulling on some of your hard experiences has ever helped you with your own writing. If you've got scars, don't hide them, write them, show them, and let them breathe. Thank you so much for watching, and happy writing.